Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into something that, well, it can sound a bit intimidating for a lot of people. We're talking about the higher self. But our source material specifically, we're looking at excerpts from Luminara Mindset Chapter 2. Defining your higher self really tries to, cut through the mystique, make it practical. So we've got definitions, some really great metaphors, practical steps. Our mission today left a clear handle on what this higher self actually is according to the source, how it communicates, and maybe most importantly, what connecting with it really looks like.
Yeah, and it's important to cut through that jargon because you're right. Higher self often makes people think of something, I don't know, really far off, like something you only get to after years of meditation on a mountaintop or something. You
Yeah.
sort of picture this perfect, floaty being up in the clouds.
Right, separate from us.
Exactly. And what's great about this source, right off the bat, is it just says no to that image. It's very clear. The higher self is not a separate, perfect being floating somewhere in the clouds.
Hmm.
And that changes everything, doesn't it? The whole journey gets reframed immediately.
That reframing is huge because if it's not something outside of us we have to acquire or reach, then the destination isn't some far off place. The source actually calls it a homecoming, of returning to a part of you that has always been there, which feels totally different.
Totally. It flips the script,
Yeah.
It goes from self-improvement as getting more stuff to self-improvement as remembering. The work isn't about becoming better. It's about uncovering this essence that's already perfect. And honestly, that just takes a lot of the pressure off, doesn't it?
It really does. So, okay, let's nail down that core definition. The source puts it pretty simply. The higher self is just the most authentic, wise, and loving aspect of your own consciousness. Like, it's your default setting when all the mental noise gets turned down.
Mhm. And to really help us get that, the source uses these really quite powerful analogies. They're excellent for showing the difference between that quiet wisdom and, our usual day-to-day mental chatter.
Okay, let's dive into those. The first one, the ocean. That one really landed for me. This idea of the chaotic surface versus the deep calm beneath.
Yeah, it's a great one. And think about what that surface represents. That's where most of us feel like we live, right?
Yeah.
Choppy waves, the storms rolling in, constant movement. The source links that directly to our everyday mind. The anxieties, the racing thoughts, the reactions, the stuff that keeps us busy and, frankly, often exhausted.
Constantly reacting to the weather on the surface.
Exactly. But then the deeper you go in this analogy, the source talks about this vast, deep, and silent stillness. And this place, this depth, holds immense power and peace. The absolute key takeaway here is that the stillness, this depth, it's always there, no matter how wild the storm is on top.
Which is comforting because the daily mind often tricks us into thinking the storm is the whole ocean, right? But these analogies remind us, even when anxiety is peaking, there's this unmoving core still present.
Precisely. And to really drive that point home about it always being there,
Yeah.
we get two more images, the sun and the mountain.
Ah, yes, the unwavering presence idea.
That's the core of it. The sun analogy, it's saying your inner light, your essence, it's always shining. Even if it feels like it's blocked by, clouds of doubt or fear. You don't have to create the sunshine. You just need to recognize the clouds aren't permanent. They're just weather.
Temporary obscurations.
Right. And the mountain, same idea. It remains strong and unmoving no matter what passes over it. Could be a blizzard, could be a sunny day. The mountain doesn't really react. It just is. So putting them together shows the higher self isn't just a good mood that comes and goes. It's this permanent inner foundation, just sometimes hidden by temporary mental weather.
Okay, so if the surface waves are the daily mind and the deep ocean is this authentic, silent self, we need to understand how they actually operate differently, how they communicate, because here's where it gets really interesting. How do we tell the difference? How do we know if we're getting guidance from that surface mind versus the deep mind?
Well, first we got to talk about the operating system, basically. The surface mind, the daily thoughts, they mostly run on fear. Fear of messing up, fear of what others think, fear of loss, all that stuff. But the higher self, the source says, operates purely from love. And that includes self-acceptance, compassion for yourself and others, courage, a totally different energy.
Love versus fear, that's a fundamental split.
It really is.
Yeah.
And this leads straight into how they communicate. It's that classic opposition. Intuition versus the ego. In this context, the source basically defines the ego as the voice of that surface fear. And how does it talk? Through loud demands. Urgent thoughts, critical self-talk, those repetitive worries trying to keep you safe by keeping you playing small.
Okay, so the ego shouts. It's demanding. How does the higher self or intuition break through that noise? Is intuition just like really fast thinking or something else?
The source suggests it's something else entirely. It describes the higher self's guidance as the quiet whispers of intuition. It's often subtle, a gut feeling maybe, or just a sense of knowing, an expansive thought that doesn't have that demanding, pushy energy the ego does. Think of it like this. The ego tells you what to do, often with judgment and panic. Intuition gently guides you, usually with a feeling of rightness or peace, even if the path itself looks hard.
All right, that distinction is really helpful. So if I'm facing a big choice and one path feels pressured, frantic, full of what ifs, that's likely the fear-based surface talking. But if another option feels, I don't know, clearer, calmer, more aligned, even if it's scary in a different way, that could be the wisdom from the depth.
Exactly. That's a great way to check in. And look at what the source connects to this intuition, this deeper knowing. It's not just about making decisions. It's the wellspring of your creativity, your compassion, your deepest sense of purpose. It's described as the part of you that feels connected to everything, the part that understands forgiveness. This is huge, the part that knows without question that you are worthy and whole.
Mm.
When you feel that sense of expansion or flow, that's the depth speaking.
Which brings us back to that paradox we mentioned earlier. If this whole thing is a homecoming, and the source keeps saying the journey is not about becoming your higher self because you already are it, then what's the point of the work? Why bother with meditation or journaling if we're already whole? What are we actually doing?
Right. It sounds contradictory, isn't it? But think back to the analogies. The mountain covered in clouds, the ocean with a stormy surface. The work isn't about building more mountain or digging a deeper ocean. It's about the active, conscious process of clearing away the stuff that's obscuring the view.
Ah, so it's maintenance. Or maybe excavation.
Exactly. Excavation is a great word for it. The source defines the work as the process needed to. Clear away those clouds, calm the surface of the water, and crucially, to lovingly remove the layers of conditioning and limiting beliefs that we've picked up over a lifetime. It's like editing your own story, carefully taking out the lines and beliefs that weren't truly yours in the first place.
Okay, let's talk about that lovingly remove part. Because those limiting beliefs, I'm not good enough, I have to earn love, whatever they are, they feel really real. They feel like us. How do you gently excavate something so ingrained without just like starting a war with yourself?
That lovingly is the absolute key, because the minute you attack a belief head on, the ego flares up, right? It senses a threat and the noise just gets louder. So the tools the source mentions, like meditation, specific journaling prompts, they probably share elsewhere. They're designed for quiet observation, not for battle.
So not fighting the thoughts, but watching them.
Precisely. Take journaling, for example. Used this way, it's not just complaining on paper. It's a method to spot a loud, demanding thought. An ego pattern trace its roots, which is often fear, and then consciously choose to not identify with it anymore. You're writing to see the cloud clearly, understand it maybe, but not to be the cloud.
Gotcha. So meditation creates the quiet space to notice the clouds drifting by. And journaling helps you analyze, like, okay, where did that particular cloud come from? Why have I been holding onto it so tightly? And the whole point of these tools is just to strengthen that connection to the authentic self by making the surface less jumpy, less reactive.
That sums it up perfectly. The source confirms exactly that. These practices help you strengthen the connection. They help you remember the magnificent being you have always been. It's all about remembering. Deep, consistent remembrance.
Okay, let's bring this down to earth now with the practical exercise the source leaves us with. This is designed to make this fairly high-level concept feel really tangible for you, the listener, grounding that stillness in your actual felt experience. So the invitation is simple. Take a moment, maybe later today, and think of a time in your life when you felt completely and truly yourself. It could have been a moment of pure clarity, maybe deep peace, or just effortless joy. A time when the surface felt completely calm. And then the critical question the source asks is, what did that feeling of authenticity feel like in your body? Where did you feel it?
Yeah, and connecting this back, this exercise is like dropping an anchor. The mind can play tricks, tell stories, but the body's sensations are often more direct, more honest. By intentionally recalling the physical feeling that went with that authentic state, maybe it was warmth in your chest, a sense of groundedness, ease in your shoulders, whatever you're giving your nervous system, a reference point, a blueprint for peace.
A physical memory of stillness.
Exactly. And that's so valuable because later, When you're caught up in the ego's noise, in the frantic demands, you can actually check in physically.
Yeah.
You can ask yourself, does this frantic feeling match that memory of peace? Or does it feel tight, constricted, chaotic?
Yeah.
It reinforces that core lesson.
Ah.
This feeling isn't something you have to achieve from scratch each time. It's something you remember and can physically recognize.
That really does make the abstract feel concrete. Okay, so quick recap. We've learned today, through this source, that the higher self isn't some mystical entity, it's just your most authentic self. It's the deep, powerful calm beneath the mind's chaotic surface. It communicates through quiet intuition, not loud demands. And the path isn't about becoming something new, but about excavation, lovingly clearing away the conditioning and beliefs that hide who you already are. It's remembrance. Thank you so much for going on this deep dive with us today, for exploring what that homecoming really means.
So, what does this all mean? Let's leave you with this thought, drawing purely from the source material we explored. If we really take on board this idea that the core of your being is already that silent, strong, unmoving mountain, then it follows that every struggle, every bit of suffering, is essentially rooted in believing in a temporary cloud passing over the mountain. So the question becomes, what's one loud, limiting belief connected to a current struggle that you're now ready to just acknowledge, to observe, maybe journal about, and begin that process of lovingly clearing away? Maybe just start there.